What's up guys, in this video you're going to be learning the #1 skill for poker success. Now the past 8 weeks I've been coaching 10 players through my signature poker athlete program where we level up 8 skills needed for elite poker performance over the course of 8 weeks. I've just got all the feedback from the players who went through the program and I asked them what was the #1 skill that's been the most fundamental to your success going forward. And about 80% of the players, so 8 out of the 10, and also the last program I did, which was another 10 players, again about 70-80%, selected this as their #1 skill that has helped them to have the most success in poker. And that skill is emotional regulation. All right, the ability to regulate your emotions is the #1 skill that poker players need in order to have success. Now, you might ask yourself, why is this? Is it not high-level skills like focus, like resilience, like the ability to play consistently well, play your A game? Yes, they're important, but if you don't learn to regulate your emotions, master your emotional state, you can't get to those higher level performance states. All right, so when I do the poker athlete program, the first skill we do is self-awareness, so people understand what they're struggling with and where they're trying to get to. But then we dive straight into emotions, how to master your emotions, how to deal with downswings, how to regulate your emotions in real time, how to overcome the triggers that are causing certain responses. So if you're a poker player who hasn't learned to master your emotions, in all honesty, you're going to be taking one step forward and one step back. You're always going to be a victim at some point to your negative emotions, or to tilt episodes, or to things not going your way and struggling to deal with it. Now, I had an interesting call a few weeks ago with somebody who was approaching me for one-on-one coaching, and he was saying that he'd basically been working with a mindset coach who told him to stop playing poker because he was so emotional. Right? He was too emotional to play poker. And my kind of response to him was, poker is the perfect training ground. If you have trouble with emotions, poker is the ultimate training ground that will bring everything to the surface, all your insecurities, all your self-doubt, and it's the ultimate place to learn to regulate your emotions. Now, myself and almost every player I've worked with struggled with their emotional state at some point in their career. They struggled to handle variance. They struggled to handle downswings. They struggled with the self-doubt that comes with not knowing if you're good enough to be your current stake or the stake above. So many things go into being a poker player, and yeah, it challenges you, and these things come to the surface. The good thing is that it's a skill that you can train, and through poker, through bringing all the emotions to the surface and all the triggers and responses, you can actually use poker as your training ground to train that skill. All right, so if you're someone who's struggling with this and you want to be able to master your emotions long term, you've got to put the work into, first of all, identifying what emotions are coming up. You've then got to take a step back and understand what is triggering those emotions. The good thing about emotions, kind of the good and the bad, is they often repeat. All right, so you have a certain amount of situations that trigger a very similar response. Maybe there's 2 or 3 emotions that you're dealing with, but most players don't have many more than that. All right, it may be frustration or anger or some form of tilt that you would describe it differently, but basically you have a few emotions that come up, and the triggers might be a few in terms of like certain things happening in the poker context, or there might be many. All right, but all of them lead to the same emotional state. Once you get really clear on what's going on, you can start to build tools to actually stop the whole process. All right, the trigger is going to be pressed, but you can actually change the response. You can actually become a master of your emotional state. If you're somebody who tilts a lot or has issues with dealing with negative situations, you might be going, can you really get past them? But yes, you can. It's a skill that most people haven't had to train. In all honesty, going through my life before I got into poker, I had no need to master my emotional state. Maybe it would have been handy in some relationships or in some personal conflicts, but overall it wasn't that high on my list. But as soon as you start playing poker, all your emotions, all of a sudden you can't play because you're tilting. You're in a negative state of mind. When you're on a downswing, you can't put volume in. All of a sudden you can't move up stakes, you've got self-doubt creeping in. All these things that come to the surface because you need to work on the skill of emotional regulation. You need to learn to regulate your emotions. Now, if this resonates with you and if you're someone who wants to optimize your performance by leveling up your skills, I wanted to announce that I've got a new program coming out. I see that a new program. I'm relaunching my poker athlete program, and I'm currently going to take on 10 players at the start of April to walk through this poker athlete program where we'll level up 8 skills over the course of 8 weeks. The second skill is that of emotional regulation, which the players are reporting back to me has been their favorite skill to level up and their most beneficial. And from there, we then build skills on top. So like I said, there is high level skills, the skills of energy optimization, the skills of focus, the skills of being present in the zone. All these are real high level skills, but until you learn to master your emotional state, you can't get to them. So the program is built to build the foundational layers first, to teach you the skills that are most beneficial, the things that get in your way first, and then we build the higher level skills on top. It's an interactive program with live coaching every week. There's coaching modules to go through. I'm there as your coach, as well as the other players helping you with accountability and leveling it up. If that sounds like it could be good for you, in the description, there'll be an application form. You guys can fill that out. If not, and you want to work on this yourself, do not underestimate the power of regulating your emotional state and becoming a master of your emotions. Get working on it, identify the things that are triggering you, and yeah, start to build some awareness around the triggers and the responses. All right, guys, that's all for today's video. If you liked it, hit the like button before you go, and I'll see you guys very soon for a new video.